What are the ways that you already know you're going to succeed at Nano before we worry about the things that we haven't figured out yet?
Very little.
I'm sure there's something. You said you've done a lot of, the project you're working on, you've done a lot of planning towards that.
I have. Perhaps not as much as I'd like to get done. I'd like to get to the point where I know where I need to hit in terms of story, other than talking to you about coming up
Sprints?
with a very clear understanding of the sprints I need to do. Yep.
Yeah.
I haven't sat down and done much in the way of planning for the month.
Okay.
Um, I am thinking things I think I need to do. Find some way, and I don't know what this way would be, but find some way to motivate and hold myself accountable to a morning write. I start work at 8. If I can't get those down before 7:30, then there is a very strong chance that it won't happen throughout the rest of the day. The trick is to get up at 5:30 a.m., which I know from past experience I definitely can do. But then the real trick is holding myself accountable somehow to getting those words done every day.
Thinking about what I'm going to do differently than just the sprints, because I don't think the sprints are enough. Like you say, it's a good start, but it's not necessarily enough. So I've got 2 other strategies other than the sprints that I'm going to do. And so I've broken it into 3, and I have to have the beginning done by the 10th, the mid build done by the 20th, and then I've got 10 days to write the ending payoff. I suspect I'll be running ahead on the beginning, and I suspect I will be running late on the middle. That is the way I usually roll. So to counteract that, I have also broken my story in my outline into scenes, and I have 61 scenes. I wanted 60, but it turned out 61. And so that means if I write 2 scenes a day, regardless of word count, if I write 2 scenes a day, I will be on track to finish the novel, or at least a version of the novel, by the end of the month. I may not hit my word count with either of those strategies. The sprint is better for, like, the sprints, breaking it down by sprints is a better way to make sure I hit my word count. But if I think about word count, I know I'm not going to be successful, because I can't work to a number. I have to work to something that is more fluid than that. I'm wondering how I'm going to, when I've got the bigger days, how I'm going to keep myself on track, preparing the space. Neil Gaiman has a rule. He writes he has a luxury of having a specific place where he writes. And he has a rule that when he goes to that space, he's allowed to write and he's allowed to not write, but that's all. Like, he can do nothing or he can write. He's not allowed to do anything else. And he says the best part about that is that he's not only given himself permission to not write, but also not writing is not nearly as fun as writing. So eventually he gets bored of not writing and will write something. Yeah, where do we get the kickstart? Where do you not hit the snooze button on your alarm clock at 5 a.m. and say, oh, just sleep?
I know if I'm not too tired, because I will be highly motivated, but tiredness kicks in. And so I'm thinking of the things that, like, that provoke me to put runs on the board even when I'm tired. Writing is such a solitary endeavor that I am most motivated to put runs on the board when I know that I will impact other people if I don't actually do the work. If I'm only impacting me, well, I mean, I don't matter, At the end of this is the psychology behind it, right? Like, maybe I matter the most, as many self-help books would have me believe, but like, the psychology behind it is, if the only person impacted is me, well, I can recover from that, right? I'm still on the journey of turning my writing into, like, my writing mindset into a professional mindset, because this is not something I've ever struggled with at work, ever. Sitting down to do long tasks over a prolonged period of time with equal effort every single day, to the degree required to meet deadlines and sort of, ensure that the team meets its goals, not a problem. Not a problem at all. Writing, problem.
Mm-hmm.
I've often wondered if I had if I pre-sold something, if I had sold something and I needed to meet the deadline and, justify the prepayment, I suspect the psychology would change. Equally, I've often wondered what would happen if I actually had a manager, because I think, again, the psychology would change. Because if there was someone there managing me and saying, hey, no, the expectation is that you do this, I feel like, my psychology around it would change a bit. But how do you stay dedicated and accountable to yourself?
That I rely on, like you say, like you have a different kind of mindset at work. One thing I rely on is that I usually have several irons in the pan.
The fire, where'd the irons go?
The fire,
I think it's in the fire, yeah. But I
can't write, I'll make a video for YouTube. If I can't make a video for YouTube and I don't feel good, I'll edit a video for YouTube. If I've got nothing to edit, I'll go do some laundry. I'm trying during Preptober not just to prepare my novel, but also prepare my content for November. And then anything I don't do, I'll fill in with live sprints, or I'll record myself writing and post it later.
My goal is to have it all sort of as smoothly running as possible.
We'll write and actually spend the time writing.
I imagine actually that one thing that would help me is if you just said maybe once a week, how are you going?
I was going to say that, maybe like we've been chatting about writing. Maybe in November, what we do is we do sprints and we challenge each other, because I know you really like that. And
I love it. If you were available at 5 a.m., I would love it even more.
5 a.m. might be a push.
When I wrote like Hemingway, I got up, I don't think I got up at 5. I think I got up at 6:30. But I got a good chunk of writing done in the morning. I got at least one sprint before my daughter got up. And then she wrote with me because it wasn't time for her to get ready yet. And so, but she was a distraction because she wanted to talk about her writing.
And the tooth fairy. But that's a strategy that could be good, because I think that for me, if I've done some, then I want to go back to it. I want to go back and I want to do more. But it's the start to do it that makes it hard. It's like like anything. Like if you start cleaning or you start cooking or you start doing something, it's the first 10 minutes of it are so hard. But then once you're in it, it's like, I can keep doing this all day. This isn't so bad.
But I think my default in life is, if the weather is fine, you should be outside. If you have the option between spending time with friends and family or spending time alone in an individual pursuit, right? Like in priority order, it is go outside, spend time with friends and family, work on your projects. Like it's in that order. And I think this is being Australian, living in a country with amazing weather.
And it's spring and it's been so cold and so wet. So I'm already thinking ahead to that. So especially on the days where I've got multiple sprints, I'm going to change my location up. So sometimes I'm going to go out and write with the cat. I'm going to go out and write with sheep. I'm going to go out and write with cows. I'm going to go out and write.
I'll go out to a cafe and write there. I'm going to write all
the other day and do this, and I'll report back on how well it goes. I'm going to hop on a train and I'm going to train into Sydney and up to Newcastle and then back. And that trip, I think I believe it's like 4.5 hours or something. And so if I do the return journey, I'm not going to hop off the train. I'm just going to sit on the train. I feel like
maybe I'll take a Sunday off. Maybe I'll take a Sunday.
Do it on a Sunday?
On a Sunday? Yeah, cool. I'll see. I think, definitely report back on how things are working, because I think we'll check in from time to time in November. If you want to see more videos from me and Irene, check out this playlist here.
Thank you for joining us.